Okay, so today, I know it's a little weird, but yes, this is the title of my sharing. It's Lessons from the Leaf Potter Crab. Yeah, it's not a conventional title, and I decided not to. Yeah, I couldn't think of a conventional name. So how I got this message is that I was basically with my family at the beach on, I think it was Monday or something at 6:30 in the morning, and we were just like walking around the shores. And my sis suddenly came up to me and said, "Oh, look at this crab! It's like it's so aggressive." I was like, "Huh? Aggressive crabs?" So I did not copy Jeremy's idea, by the way. Oh yeah. So she showed me this crab. I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's really aggressive." And I suddenly felt that God said, "Yeah, I want you to share about this." I was like, "Wait, what? A crab?" Okay, so I have my message here today, and it's from a crab. So the first point about this crab is that it comes out only at night. Okay, and you know, a lot of times we know that the night represents darkness, right? So it signifies like evil, sin, uncertainty, or like even the rule of wickedness. You know, that kind of thing. Like in the Bible, it says, "Do not be in the night, but we are in the light," right? And the function of light is to guide our path, is to bring clarity and certainty in the path that we are taking or in the direction that we are going in. The light helps to guide our path, but it does not change the fact that we are in darkness. Okay, the light guides our path, but it does not change our circumstances. And so why the light is important is that it keeps us safe, it keeps us on the right track in spite of our circumstances. And so my question to you guys is, what sins are we concealing? You know, usually when people say, "Oh, yeah, the person is in darkness," and stuff like that, it either refers to people being pre-believers, like they have not yet received Jesus into their life as Lord and Savior, or it could refer to people who are walking in sin. Okay, these people are those in the dark because the light has not shone through them. John 11:10 says, "We stumble. It is when a person walks at night that they stumble, for they have no light." And basically what it's saying is that the reason we stumble is because there is no light to illuminate our path or to bring to surface the sins that are hidden deep in our hearts. Okay, and this causes us to walk down the path of danger. And it's basically how the enemy gets at us, is through these dark areas of our life, the besetting sins that we are not willing to open up to people or open up to God and let Him deal with. In Ephesians 5, verse 8 to 10, it says, "For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Live as children of light, for the fruit of the light consists in all goodness, righteousness, and truth, and find out what pleases the Lord." Okay, this is quite a big verse, so let me break it down a bit. In the ESV translation, it says, "For the fruit of light is found in all that is good and right and true." So we all know that Jesus is the light, like, you know, capital L, and Jesus lives in us. And because we are that fruit, then therefore the light needs to shine through us. If not, people don't see the light. You know, people don't just see Jesus. We are the vessels through which God's light can shine through. And so it's our responsibility to do it. Therefore, we belong to everything that is pleasing and righteous according to God's standards, not the standards of this world. Okay. And the second part of this verse I found very interesting. Find out what pleases the Lord. Yeah. Okay. And so the light of God shines through us, and it highlights areas that we ought to change. So it is our job to actively ask God to search us and bring these deep-rooted sins or areas that we struggle with the light. He has given us the free will to let Him deal with us. And this is where we need to let go and let God. Okay, so this leads me to my next few questions. What are the things that we are trying to hide from other people because we know that it's wrong or it reveals a certain vulnerability about us? It can be something big, it can be something small. Sometimes it may not even be like what people consider a sin. It could just be like, okay, for example, or I'm very conscious, these kind of things. But it kind of keeps us in this bubble of darkness because we are not letting God speak. We're not letting God shine his light through us, and his light is the truth. He's the way, the truth, and the light. Okay, he's this three in one. We need to let him enter us and shine out of us. And I didn't include this in the slides, but in the book of Jonah, 1 to 3, Jonah chapter 1, verse 3, it says, "But Jonah ran away from the Lord and he headed for Tarshish. He went down to Joppa, where he found a ship for that. The fare, he went aboard and sailed for Tarshish to flee from the Lord." Okay, so basically, Jonah is here at Joppa, and this over here is Nineveh, which is modern day Iraq. He was supposed to go from here to there, but instead he went from Joppa to Tarshish, which is modern day Spain. Okay, it's completely the opposite direction. But he still chose to do that because he wanted to flee from God. Okay, and what God highlighted to me in this verse was that Jonah paid the fare to go to Tarshish. Now, every time we do something that is not according to God's will for us, that doesn't align ourselves to God's path, we will have to pay a price and suffer the consequences. He paid the fare and he ended up in the belly of a big fish for 3 days. And he still had to go all the way back to Nineveh. So what I'm trying to say is, don't run away from the things that God is trying to shine light upon, because he only does this so that we can walk in the truth of his word and we can be free. Okay, no longer stuck in sin or condemnation or whatever it is. Okay, so what are the sins or the issues in lives that is causing us to flee from the presence of the Lord? What is making us hide within our bubble of darkness? And what are the areas that we are afraid to let God's light shine on? So that's my first point of the crab. Moving on to the second point of the crab is that it hides among its surroundings. Basically, it finds whatever it can hide on top of or under, which is usually like a mobile leaf or like a shell that other sea creatures have discarded. Okay, so in the video that I had taken, the crab will literally hide on top, and it will hide below, and when you flip the shell around, it will immediately scurry back to the bottom. And if you take away that shell, it will hide among anything else, like in its surroundings, which is really weird. And my question to you guys is, in life, do we seek to find cover-ups for who we are or for who God made us to be? What are these cover-ups? Okay. Some of these cover-ups can be good, some of it can be bad. So example of these good cover-ups that I find quite common to us nowadays is good grades, okay, like education, accreditations, Instagram posts. It might make us seem very high up, very influential. We could be doing good social causes and stuff, but does it really, really matter? And these cover-ups could even be us being involved in ministries, in church, like, wow, I'm part of this ministry, that ministry, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just trying to make ourselves appear more spiritual than we actually are. But in fact, we don't have an intimate relationship with God. Okay. And other bad cover-ups include okay, so I'll read through the story. This is from Genesis 3, verse 8 to 10. And I'll just basically, Adam and Eve, they hid from God, not because they were guilty of sinning, not because they were guilty of eating the fruit and disobeying him, but they hid because they were naked. Now, this is really strange because if you think about it, God created all mankind, okay, well, technically it was the two of them, to be naked in the garden. They were guiltless, they were shameless before God in his presence, okay? Yet this was the perfect way that God had created them to be. So the reason that they sold fig leaves and wore it on their bodies was not because they felt guilty of sinning, but because they were ashamed of being naked even before their creator God and Father, who was the one who created them, who sculpted them, who made them who they were. Okay, and when are the times where we have tried to make cover-ups for ourselves because we are afraid of what people will think of us, about what we've done in the past. Oh no, will they know our deep secrets? Will they know this thing about me or that thing about it? What are the things that God wants us to be so plain about, yet we are trying to hide from the rest of the world? This is not referring to sin anymore, but it's referring to the way we present ourselves before people. Okay. And another question that I have is, um, not question, but yeah, do we also seek to find ways to cover God up? And it can even be a simple scenario like your friends asking you, oh, how was your day today? It might have been like a Friday or Saturday or Sunday, and you went to church and you had an awesome encounter with God. You were crying on the floor, you were shouting, or you were whatever. You were delivered. You were delivered from your from whatever sin or treatment, or you were able to forgive someone, and you just felt God's love. But in the end, you just tell them, okay lah, normal lor. I just go to church, listen, and then go back home. Like, God really had to convict me about this, because this is how we rob other people of an experience of experiencing God's love. And this is basically us covering God up, okay, in all his glory, in all his splendor, even in these small ways. Um, Jesus was not ashamed of us. He was called a friend of sinners. And even right now, as we are all gathered here, he is interceding for us at the right hand of the Father, okay? Despite our persistent sin and disobedience and fear and whatsoever. So what are the things that we need to stop shying away from, okay? Because if Jesus is not ashamed of us, we should not be ashamed of him in any form or shape. Another interesting point to know about this crab is that it does not camouflage, okay? It hides. Sorry, let me just repeat that. It does not camouflage with its surroundings, but it hides under anything it can find. And as Christians, we are not called to live a hidden life away from the situations or the people in this world, but we are called to live in the light, and we are called to be the light, and we're called to shine forth the light and boldly proclaim God's kingdom wherever we are, okay? We are not meant to blend in with the world. Guys, we are not crabs, okay? We are believers, we are sons and daughters of the Most High King, and we cannot find another shell, whether it's another person or it's a certificate or just a random piece of paper which tells you that you did really well for your O-levels or your JC, okay? We cannot hide under shells. Amen, we are not crabs. So in Galatians 2 verse 12, for before certain men came from James, he used to eat with the Gentiles. But when they arrived, he began to draw back and separate himself from the Gentiles because he was afraid of those who belonged to the circumcision group. Now this he, in the passage, is referring to Peter, okay? So basically what happened was that Peter acted differently when he was among the Jews who held to the beliefs of circumcision. Now this has to do with righteousness and faith, and you have to be circumcised in order to blah, blah, blah. Okay, long story short, he changed his attitude towards the Gentiles. Okay, so he had two different profiles. He was this really inclusive man who was able to accept people of different status, different racial groups and whatever. But when the circumcision party came, when it was the Jews who are like hardcore theology and like the law of Moses, he said, no, I can't sit with these people anymore. Like, they are sinners, and we draw the line here. So my question to you guys is, do we draw back from extending God's love to everyone because we care more about other people's opinion of us rather than the truth of God? And in Romans 1 verse 16, it says, "For I'm not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God that brings salvation to everyone who believes, first to the Jew, then to the Gentiles. I really just want to zoom in on the first part here. I am not ashamed of the gospel because it is the power of God who brings salvation to everyone. Okay. And we must not be ashamed of the gospel simply because it is the power of God that convicts people's hearts to believe in Him, to receive Him. It is not about how well we speak or the fact that, oh no, I'm crossing this certain boundary. What will people think of me? Will they accept me just because I'm different from other people? We cannot care about that, okay? It is the power of God which is made manifest through the Holy Spirit that lives in us. And this is how we share God's love to other people. So yes, we must not blend into our surroundings. We must not hide from the people and situations around us. Okay, and my last point for the card, it's scavengers. Now, I'm sure everyone here knows what a scavenger is. It's basically something that doesn't look for specific food. It just, I guess it's kind of like a bottom feeder. It settles for the lowest or whatever it can find along the way. My question to you is, what is our diet? What are we feeding ourselves with daily in life? Now, this refers, it's not just physical, okay? It's emotional, it's mental, but in this context, it is especially to do with our spiritual diets, okay? This isn't in the slides, but in Matthew 25, in Matthew 25, it talks about the parable of the talents, and the steward was not intentional about making profit. Okay, he was lazy, he was not forward looking, he just decided to hide his master's talent in the ground and gave it back to the master. Now, this doesn't directly explain the point, but what I'm trying to say is that he was not intentional. He was foolish and he missed the opportunity to gain wisdom, skill, and blessing. Okay. In Proverbs 10, verse 4, it says, a slack hand causes poverty, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. Now, the word diligent means hardworking and to be intentional. Will we let ourselves be satisfied by being bottom feeders, okay, by just picking up whatever comes our way and being satisfied with that? Like, oh, okay, I guess if there's a shop meeting, if there's Zoom worship, spend more time with God. I'm going to dive deep into His Word. I'm going to pray of you for who you are, God. I thank you, God. I want to draw close to you day by day. And sometimes by being bottom feeders, we put ourselves at risk as well because we are consuming junk, okay? And what happens in the natural also is in the spiritual. You know, in the natural, if we eat tons of junk food, we can't expect ourselves not to have any health problems. It's same in the spiritual. If we don't mind our spiritual diet, we can expect ourselves to die or to deteriorate much quicker than we are, and we won't be able to hit the higher call of God over our lives. And in Matthew 16, verse 6, it says, watch and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees. Now, this leaven here refers to the teachings, the values, the messages, and the doctrine that the Pharisees and the Sadducees subscribed to. Okay, it was a belief system, and you know what we consume spiritually, like in terms of the word we read, in terms of the messages we listen to, or even in the physical. Okay, the movies we watch, the secular music we listen to, the friends we hang out with. All this is part of our diet, okay? And whether it's physical, educational, or in terms of the media, it will all influence our lifestyle and subsequently the choices that we make, okay? Are we gonna drift along the currents of life and just pick up whatever comes our way? Or are we going to actively search for sound direction and good nourishment in life, okay? Are we settling the status quo, or are we blindly, ignorantly, or carelessly living our lives? This might seem a bit harsh, but like it really, when I was preparing this, it really caused me to reflect as well. What are the things that I am consuming each day, even in terms of like my Bible study or watching online sermons, we need wisdom, we need discernment from God so that what we take in is good for us, so that when we exercise, it can bear much fruit. Yeah. So I've come to the end, and this is my recap. The verse first. So, yeah. Okay, we can go back to the recap first. Sorry. Yeah. What sins are we concealing? Are we bring up who we are and who God truly is? And what are we feeding ourselves with each day? Now, all these three, I know it's lessons taken from a sea creature, but how this is applicable to our lives is that it really, really affects our physical and our spiritual growth with God. So my summary verse is Psalms 24, verse 3 to 6. Who may ascend the mountain of the Lord? Who may stand in his holy place? It is the one who has clean hands and a pure heart, who does not trust in an idol or a false god. Yeah. They will receive blessing from the Lord and vindication and justice and righteousness from the God of their Savior. Such is the generation of those who seek you, who seek your face, O God of Jacob. What does my sharing have to do with this verse? In order to have clean hands and a pure heart, in order to have an intimate relationship with God, we need to have clean hands and a pure heart. We cannot let sin get in the way. We cannot be children of darkness. We cannot be hidden from the light. We need to let God's light shine through us. Okay, we cannot blend into our surroundings and just let life go on while we are hiding in like our walls of comfort or not stepping out in boldness. Okay, we cannot scavenge. We cannot just take whatever comes our way wholesale and I'll just take whatever I get. No, we need to actively pursue this relationship with God. Okay, God doesn't just watch us from heaven and think, oh no, she sinned again. She's so pitiful. Okay, I'll just let her be and continue sinning. No, he constantly reaches out to us day by day and extends his grace and mercy to us, whether it's through reading his word, it's through a person who speaks into our life. And we need to have teachable hearts. We need to have hearts that are willing to be corrected. We need to have hearts of humility and be free of all this sin. We must always, always have clean hands and a pure heart, okay, guys, when we seek God. And I felt this really kind of is in line with our season right now. Everyone is talking about revival in this generation. So many adults and pastors as well have been saying that our generation, the youth, are going to be the ones to usher in revival. The youth are going to be the ones to see revival in our lifetime. But and I know that everyone has heard this, but revival really starts with us. How does it start with us? It starts from an intimate relationship with God. We can't expect him to use us to reach out to our schools or to pray for this generation or for this nation if we are constantly living in sin, living in darkness, not honoring him and what he does. We must make sure that our walk with him is blameless. Now, God does not call us to be perfect. He says, be holy for I am holy. But he knows that we are sinners. We have all fallen. But he has sent his son Jesus Christ to die on the cross for our sins, which has enabled us by his grace to live a life of holiness, which means that even though we sin, we can immediately get up again. We can just pick up from where we left off and say, okay, God, I'm not going to do that anymore. I want to go straight ahead with you in the direction of holiness and purity and truth. Okay. He is looking for yielded vessels who are willing to die to themselves daily, who are willing to crucify their flesh each day, and to just surrender their whole lives to him and do what honors God. So everything else, including revival, especially revivals, just comes from the outflow of intimacy with God. If we don't have our walks with God strong, we can forget about praying for revival. Okay, revival is not a separate agenda that we my family and then I pray for revival, God send revival. No. Everything happens because we are the vessels that God works through in any situation. And because of the love of God, it just overflows. That's how revival comes. Okay? But we need to have clean hands and a pure heart.